to cover the basics about nutrition today. I've put together a PowerPoint to hopefully answer most of the questions that you have. We'll also go through a demonstration on how to use MyFitnessPal and how to track and keep record of your calories. So what is basic nutrition? The purpose and motivator for this presentation is to educate you on how proper diet and nutrition can improve your health, wellness, and overall quality of life. I hope to describe in this presentation the meaning of nutrition, the meaning of diet, the different food groups, as well as identify the different food groups, distinguish between micro and macronutrients. A lot of you guys wonder, what are micronutrients? What are macronutrients? Well, in this slideshow, I will be explaining to you what those are. I will be explaining the effects of sugar and insulin on the human body. I will be explaining the difference in the nutrient absorptions of whole foods versus supplements versus processed foods. I will also be explaining to you guys why it's important that when we do a cut or when we do a build phase, why we don't decrease more than 20% of our BMR. I will also describe how to incorporate what we have gone over into planning meals into MyFitnessPal and how to really achieve success and reach those goals that you're hoping for. Nutrition, it's funny, everybody has their ideas on it, and it's almost as controversial as religion. Have you ever had a conversation like this? I asked my friend Bill if he knew what nutrition is. Bill told me, I know what nutrition is, it's just eating right, right? I told Bill, well, sort of, it's simple, but over the years, society has figured a way to really muddy the waters. As a species, we've had to deal with all kinds of food shortages, famines, wars, and etc. Our response was to industrialize our food. In doing so, we have created a great deal of confusion in a field that's relatively simple. There's so many fad diets out there that's telling you one thing's right, one thing's wrong. Don't eat carbs, don't eat fats, eat only meat. What's right? Why are there so many different views out there? Products, there's miracle products that are going to make you lose weight. This is all put together, as you'll see, as a money-making scam. You can also have conversations such as this. Hi Mary, I was wondering if you could tell me what your diet is like. Mary immediately gets uncomfortable and starts to justify her eating habits. I eat healthy enough. I have good portion control. Speaking openly about nutrition and diet can be similar to religion or politics. As I mentioned earlier, people get very defensive and emotional about their attachment to food, so speaking openly about it can be tricky. A lot of times we reward our children with foods, or we were rewarded as children with food, and so it's one of those things that's very open, and it's not like an alcoholic who just can put away alcohol and avoid bars. Food is always around us, and we're going to be surrounded in it, and it's part of our lifestyle. We celebrate with food, and I want to teach you guys how you can really enjoy your food and how you can pass down your healthy eating to your children, not by eliminating all the carbs or eliminating all of the fats. It's a lot about portion control and a lot about hitting your macros and striving for, you know, your 90% best. But of course there's going to be holidays, and you should be able to enjoy those holidays where you're not just using food as a comfort. Food is a fuel. What is the definition of nutrition? Nutrition is the process of obtaining food necessary for health and growth. This can include anything from pizza to tofu. So nutrition is the food that we consume in order for us to grow and be healthy. Whether it be pizza or tofu, those both contain macro and micronutrients. It's just important on hitting the macronutrients that your body needs. As I discussed before, there's so many different fad diets and diet pills and magic pills out there. I'm here to just tell you guys that all you need is real natural foods and how to find those natural foods. So how many food groups are there? Growing up, you probably have seen all 3 different one of these. Are there 5, 7, 12? Where is everybody getting their information? The federal government states there's grains, vegetables, fruits, milks, meats, and beans. You've also seen this pyramid where your grains, down here you have vegetables, fruits, milks, cheeses, fats, and so on. Well, the U.S. Department of Agriculture is in charge of categorizing the food groups. Their vision statement is to expand economic opportunity through innovation, helping rural America to thrive, to promote agriculture production, sustainability that better nourishes Americans while also helping feed others throughout the world, and to preserve and conserve our nation's natural resources through restored forests, improved watersheds, and healthy private working lands. So their main vision statement, their main goal is to promote agriculture production, sustainability. It's not for our health, it's not for our best benefit, it is to promote agriculture productions. So reading this, that can kind of give you an idea of where they came up with their My Pyramid plan. It wasn't for the best interest of our bodies and our health, it was to better the economy. That's right, the USDA's mission is to promote American agriculture. Corn and wheat grains are a big business for the USDA. That is why they claim that the grains are the largest and most important food group. Once again here, USDA is promoting these grains because they make the most money. The 3 basic food groups are protein, fat, carbohydrates, and we should be eating in an amount of 50% carbohydrates, 25% fat, and 25% protein. This all kind of depends on the sport that you're in and your athletic level, but for the most part, this is how I tend to break down my plans. These are our macronutrients: protein, fat, and carbohydrates. So there are 3 food groups, not the original 7, such as the USDA promotes. The body relies on carbohydrates as a source of energy, and then fat. The body will use proteins as an energy source during periods of sustained physical activity or as a matter of survival. So carbohydrates are going to give us our energy. It's our first body's preferred way to get that energy. Then it will go to fat, then it will go to protein. So I will send out your 2-week check-in forms, and I will be asking you, how is your energy level? That's going to play in those carbohydrates, because if your energy level is really, really low, then maybe we need to up your carbohydrates. There's also other questions in there, and we'll get into when we get into the fat and protein section of the PowerPoint. I will be asking these questions in response to what we need to do with your macros. This is general, and the general amount that I like to start you at, but as everybody's body is different, there are different tweaks that need to be made. Protein. Protein is a chain of nutrients utilized by our bodies to build, grow, or repair soft tissues, provide amino acids, and burn for energy. There are many different types of proteins that you can consume. If you're a vegetarian, you can go towards beans, vegetable-based proteins, and legumes. There's so many grams of protein. In just 1 cup of lentils, there's about 24 grams of protein, just to give you an idea. No, in half of a cup of lentils, I'm sorry, there is 24 grams of protein. So you don't have to go through it by eating your meat. If you'd like to be vegetarian, you can still get those, you can still hit your protein through these different types of foods. In your packet, you will see I gave you a list of different proteins. This is just listing them, a few ideas. This is also a good idea of when you're making your meal plan. I also give you this source in your packet because it breaks down the different ideas that you can have. So let's say for your protein, and we'll get into this when we get into MyFitnessPal, you want to have some spaghetti. So you can look at your protein list and see what you could add to your spaghetti to be able to hit those macros that you need. For me, I would use the lean ground beef. Somebody else might like to use some turkey, lean ground turkey. It's kind of up to you and what your total calories and macros will allow. Fat is the extra calorie storage. Fat is needed by our bodies for everything from energy, padding for our organs, insulation from the cold, to proper hormone regulation. A lot of people are so negative on fats, but the bottom line is our body needs fats. It's just, there's two different types of fat. There's saturated fat and unsaturated fat. And we're gonna get into the two different types of those fats. Saturated fats are usually solid at room temperature with the exception of palm oil. They originate primarily from animal sources such as butter, milk, yogurt, cheese, mayonnaise, salad dressings, and meat. However, even some plant sources, including palm and coconut oil, as well as hydrogenated oils found in chips, baked products, and snacks, contain saturated fat. Saturated fats are what clog our organs for the most part. We want to stay away from them. We want to be in the unsaturated fats. When you're looking at your MyFitnessPal, there are different, I will show you that area when we get there. Your saturated fats, we're going to try to be staying away from. Healthy fats, these are the ones that I was talking about that our body needs. There are so many purposes for our healthy fats, which we will get into the next slide, but some good ideas for incorporating to hit those fats that I have on your level, whether it be 25%, whether it be 20%. These are some ideas: avocado, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, cold water fish, salmon, natural peanut butter, almond butter, low-fat cheese, low-sodium nuts, olives, olive oil, coconut oil, safflower oil, sunflower oil, flaxseed oil, or fish oil. And as I talked about, all the different benefits of these omega-3s. They're a natural hormone replacement. They help your nervous system, they help your immune system, they help suppress appetite, they help you burn stored body fat. It's very important for pregnant women and nursing mothers. It helps our cholesterol levels. It reduces inflammation. Inflammation is also another big cause of different diseases, so that can help decrease those diseases. It helps our joints. I know when I'm not taking my fish oil that my joints, I have a lot harder time when I'm lifting weights and moving around. It promotes healthy skin, it promotes eyesight and brain function. It also helps our heart and helps push that bad cholesterol out of our heart. As you can see here, here's a healthy artery in the top of the screen. The second image is showing how the buildup begins by different parts of cholesterol particles. This is those bad trans fats and saturated fats. They just stick to our artery walls. Once they stick to our artery walls, they continue to build up and that plaque forms into the artery. As you can see, here's a long artery where that plaque is forming. And when we have this formed plaque right here, our blood is supposed to be going through here, pumping through our heart. It's supposed to be supporting all of our vital organs. This is our transport system. So when all of our arteries are clogged up with the cholesterol and the trans fat and the fatty tissues, then this is when we come into problems with heart attacks and different types of heart failure and high blood pressure, high cholesterol levels and such. So as we talked about unsaturated fats, we talked about saturated fats, which is previously. Now we're going to be talking about unsaturated fats. They can be further divided into monounsaturated and polyunsaturated. These fats usually come from plant sources and are liquid at room temperature. Food items containing unsaturated fats include vegetable oils, olive oil, avocados, seeds, nuts, soybeans, fish, and flax seeds, among others. I had that previous list. That's the same list that's in your packet. So we're going over this twice, but those are just those good unsaturated fats that provide many health benefits for the heart, including lowering harmful cholesterol levels. And some of these healthy unsaturated fats cannot be produced by the body and must be consumed in the diet. I highly recommend a fish oil supplement, but you have to be careful with the fish oil supplements because many of them are not FDA approved and their levels are not quite high enough. You can talk to me and I can give you some good ideas of a good fish oil supplement. We need to be looking for the EPA per DHA rating. Now onto carbohydrates, our main body's energy source. So there's two types of carbohydrates. There's simple carbohydrates and complex carbohydrates. Simple carbohydrates are also known as simple sugars and have smaller structure. Some common simple carbohydrates include sugar found in candy, soda, and juice, fructose, dextrose, and lactose, which is the sugar found in milk. Simple carbohydrates are readily broken down and absorbed in the intestine into the bloodstream. This rapid increase in blood glucose leads to a rapid release of insulin that is needed to help transport that sugar into the cells. Energy is produced rapidly, but only lasts for a short period of time. So that's when you notice that you have a donut and you get a burst of energy, but then you automatically hit that down low. That is a simple carbohydrate. Now we're talking about complex carbohydrates. They're known as starch and fiber and have a larger structure in the microbiology chain. Some common processed foods containing complex carbohydrates include bread, pasta, and whole grains. Some common whole foods containing complex carbohydrates include carrots, peas, spinach, broccoli. Think all the green leafy vegetables you can find having that starch and that fiber. The processed foods that contain complex carbohydrates, such as the bread, pasta, and whole grains, those are still good for you. Try to always hit for brown. You want whole wheat bread, you want brown rice, you want whole wheat pasta, and that's going to help us get that fiber that we need, which also lowers cholesterol and sticks with our body a little bit longer and helps maintain our energy supply throughout the day. Complex carbohydrates, they take a longer time to digest and absorb. This creates a slower, steadier increase in blood glucose and a slower, steadier increase in insulin levels. So if I'm gonna go and I'm gonna work out, then I wanna have a long-acting carbohydrate that's gonna stick with me through the whole entire workout rather than have that really high up and then have that fall because I won't be able to finish my workout. So I would go and have something such as oatmeal because it's a complex carbohydrate, which I will give you a list of complex carbohydrates, and you can plan those around your workout so that you'll be able to sustain through your workout. Energy is slowly produced, not as quickly as simple carbohydrates. However, the energy lasts for a longer period of time, which is what we're going for. We don't want that crash. In your packet, you have this same list of some carbohydrate sources. So go ahead and take a look at that. This also helps while you're doing your meal planning. So there are 3 food groups, but there are also 2 food groups. We kind of talked a little bit about the processed and the whole. Processed is manufactured food that is made in a facility where it's packaged, shipped, and stored, mostly non-perishable. So think about all your chips, your candies, your soda pops, the things that last for a really long time, or even if you go and buy a loaf of bread from the store, it tends to last for quite a bit of time. That would be a processed food. If you make homemade whole wheat bread from home, the shelf life is only about 5 to 7 days, whereas if you go and buy a processed store bag of whole wheat bread, it's going to probably last you 2 to 3 weeks. There's a reason why it's lasting that long, and it's because they're putting chemicals in it, and it is processed. So we'll base a little bit about whole food and its basic natural state. if you think about it, whole food is cultivated, slaughtered, and shipped. It's mostly perishable. As like I said, it's things that they go bad, and they don't have that longer shelf life. They don't have those chemicals in it to keep it good for a long time. Ask yourself, what's the difference between processed and whole foods? How does a person distinguish between a processed food and a whole food? Well, the important difference between processed and whole foods is the micro and macronutrient values of each. Micronutrients are only needed by the human body in small amounts and include vitamins and minerals. Deficiencies of these critical nutrients could lead to serious disease and health issues. Macronutrients are any of the nutritional components of the diet that are required in a relatively large amount, the protein, carbohydrates, and fats. So here we get into the micronutrients and the macronutrients. Processed foods have a very large amount of macronutrients. There are very few whole foods in the natural world that can rival the caloric energy found in processed foods. Unfortunately, most processed foods are lacking in micronutrients that can be absorbed by the human body. The further food gets away from the farmer's field, the less micronutrient value it has. Whole foods contain a balance of micro and macronutrients, which is in the right combinations will yield both energy and your vitamins and minerals, and not have those toxic substances that the processed foods do. So when you're thinking basic nutrition and you're in the store and you're wondering, where do I go? Where do I start with? Simple question to visualize is what whole foods meals would look like. If a caveman invited Adam and Eve over for dinner, for supper, what would their meals look like? Well, they'd have no oven, no refrigerator, no supermarkets. All food was caught, killed, or cultivated. What I like to do when I go to the grocery store is try to think the outsides of the line. First, you'll have your fresh vegetables on the outside. You'll have your fresh fruits. You have your fresh meat. You have your dairy products. More usually when you get into the center of the aisles is all of your prepackaged canned foods that aren't good for you. Rather than if you can stay on the outside of the aisles, then you're able to not even come into contact with those processed foods. So what is blood sugar and the insulin response? Every night we go to bed and our bodies attempt to get our basic chemistry, which is our hormones and naturally occurring chemicals, into an even state of homeostasis or balance. We need sugar in our blood for basic life support. Too much sugar in the blood is toxic in our organs, so our bodies need to regulate it. When we wake up, we are at homeostasis, and our blood sugar levels are set to the optimum level. Shortly after we wake, we eat breakfast. The foods we choose to eat at each meal can make or break our chemistry for the whole entire day. Have you ever noticed you wake up and you grab a donut? At least I do. I grab a donut and I feel great for those first couple minutes and then I crash. Well, the standard American diet, SAD, is breakfast. For breakfast, we'll have toast, cereal, or an energy bar. For lunch, we'll have a pizza, a burger and fries, or a sandwich. For supper, we'll have spaghetti, noodles, or mac and cheese. Glycemic index is the degree of increase in blood glucose levels after consuming a food containing carbohydrates. There are 3 categories of glycemic index. There's high, moderate, and low. The higher the glycemic index, the faster the glucose is absorbed, used, and depleted in the body. So if we're thinking we don't want high because we want that glucose to sustain us throughout the day. So we're looking for moderate to low glycemic index. Over the years, Western culture has taught us to eat excessive amount of carbohydrates, as we've talked before, usually in the form of processed foods. These foods have a high glycemic index, which translates into a huge influx of sugar into the blood. Once your body reaches a certain amount of blood sugar, it has to counter it with insulin to survive. if you look at this chart right here, it explains when you're waking up at breakfast, your insulin is the red line, sugar is the blue line. We're waking up and we're at optimal level right there. We have breakfast and we have a bowl of cereal or we have a cup of orange juice, and that spikes our sugar. Well, our insulin that was at perfect level has to go and combat that sugar in order for it to not kill us. So it goes and it transmits that insulin and it shoots it up. Well, we start to level off around lunchtime, but then we go ahead and have some pizza or a hamburger and french fries, which is also, once again, a high glycemic carb. So it shoots our sugar back up again, meaning that we're gonna be staying pretty high on an insulin level. Well, break comes, so we're starting to crash again, and we're getting to optimal levels, we're getting to lower levels of sugar. And supper comes, we have those noodles, we have the pizza, high sugary desserts, carbohydrates, processed foods, and it spikes our insulin right back up again. The insulin response is similar to the adrenaline response. The body overreacts and it dumps a large unregulated amount of insulin into the blood. If we're not working at exerted capacity, the insulin carries the sugar directly to the fat storage where it's put in the front line for fat creation. So if we're not using that glycemic index or that carb that we just ingested, then it's going to our fat stores, because if you remember from the previous slides, our body, if it doesn't have the carbohydrates, then it goes and dips into fats. So if we're having a ton of processed foods or high glycemic carbohydrates, it's never going to go and dip into that storage of fat for energy. It's going to constantly keep adding to that source of that fat rather than take away from it. The insulin strips almost all of the blood sugar away, leaving you feeling lethargic. And that's when we have that big drop in our energy level. This is when you start looking for that cup of coffee or that energy drink, and of course, adding more chemicals to your body. It takes longer for the insulin to leave your body once it's been dumped into your blood. Insulin also has inflammatory to our systems, and inflammation can have autoimmune snowball effect with the deterioration of our health. Many of our different diseases out there are due to inflammation and the autoimmune response that our bodies give towards the large output of insulin that we're constantly having to push out to combat these sugars that we're putting into our bodies. Minimalizing the insulin response is simple. Eat carbohydrates which have a low glycemic index. Most whole food carbohydrates have a low index. The low index allows for a slower rate of metabolism that keeps your blood sugar levels below the need for an insulin response. So whole foods such as whole rice, whole wheat, and like I said before, the brown rice. You always want to look for brown. Potatoes are a good starchy vegetable. Broccoli, beans, those are going to stay with you a lot longer than if you go and have a Twinkie bar. Then it's going to spike your blood sugar and go straight towards fat and make you feel lethargic. Supplements and the value of fortified processed foods compared to whole foods. So everyone asks me, what do you take? Are you on amino acids? Are you taking protein powder? Are you taking pre-workouts? Are you taking, there's so many different supplements out there, and a lot of people think that you can just take supplements and not have to worry about your nutrition. Well, that's wrong. The only two supplements that I will recommend that you really may need or may help you feel better would be the fish oil and the protein powder. And the protein powder is just to help you hit your protein levels because it's hard when you're working. But whole food is always 100% times gonna benefit you more than those supplemental protein powders. A lot of people ask, well, then where do supplements fit in? Supplements and fortified foods are better than your standard processed foods, but they shouldn't be your only source of nutrition. So yes, the protein powder is going to be better if you're hungry to drink a protein powder than go and grab a Twinkie at the gas station. But in the same sense, it would be a lot better to have a whole source of food, whether it be some chicken breasts that you packed in your lunchbox, and a salad is gonna do you a lot better than the protein drink. And another question I get is, why shouldn't I rely solely on supplements and fortified processed foods? So a lot of people say, well, I don't want to think about it. I'll just drink a protein shake for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and I'll be fine. I don't have to worry about meal planning then, and I'll be able to hit all my protein. Maybe I'll eat a bowl of oatmeal or two. That will hit me my carbs, and I won't have to think about it. Well, pure supplements and fortified foods lack the chemical balance required for 100% absorption into our body, wherein whole foods in their natural state contain the proper balance of naturally occurring chemicals along with the vitamins and minerals that have a synergistic effect that allow the human body to absorb 100% of the nutrients from food source. Precious few supplements can be absorbed completely into the body. In fact, most of the available supplements on the market have a maximum absorption rate of 40%. And that's maximum. I mean, most of them really are 15 to 20%. So let's say you're paying $1.50 for your protein supplement, for your 30 grams of protein. Well, you're only getting 40% of that absorption rate of that protein. So rather than the 24 grams that it was supposed to have, you're really getting about 12 grams of pure protein. So that kind of gives you an idea of why not only is it so much cheaper to eat whole foods, but it's also better for your body. And you're, once again, eliminating all those extra chemicals. Supplements and fortified foods, in a nutshell, they're better than just processed foods, but if you had a choice, whole foods will win every single time. Food serves for two functions: fuel and building supplies to maintain our bodies. Can the gasoline in your engine car run on alcohol? Well, yes, it can, but you'll have to keep taking it to the mechanic. Your body is the same way. There are millions of fuels made by man that will work to fuel your body, but they will have some kind of side effect. If you look around, obesity is becoming one of the #1 killers of our society, or diseases related to obesity. There are side effects to be eating these different chemicals that we're putting into our body. Yes, you can continue to live and you will not die if you're eating Twinkies for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but you will die because that's not proper nutrition. You're gonna feel horrible. You're not gonna have any energy. You're gonna have problems with your bones and your joints because you will become overweight, and that's just not the way to live. I prefer to run with my children and see the beautiful sights in the world and hike up mountains, and whole foods is the way to do that. Building supplies. So the other part of nutrition is they help us build our bodies. Can you build a brick wall that is a combination of clay, fired bricks, and foam pieces painted to look like bricks? And instead of using mortar, you pasted it together from a kindergarten art class? Yes, you can, but it will suffer just as our bodies. We can try to build our muscles, or in other words, our post-workout meal can be junk, but it's going to suffer. It is not going to have the benefits that the correct sources would give us. When we eat processed foods, the chemicals contained inside of it mimic the micronutrients our bodies need. Our bodies will misidentify and metabolize them. Imagine your body misidentifying added chemicals that were intended to keep the food fresh. They are now being mistaken for vitamin A. The toxic effect of those chemicals can run wild in the human body, and they are the source of many autoimmune diseases ranging from eczema all the way to certain types of cancer, because our body doesn't know what these chemicals are that they're putting into these processed foods. And then we go to the doctor and we get prescribed all these different kind of medications with different side effects to battle our autoimmune diseases from the food that we're eating. And as you can see, it's just a vicious cycle that continues to go through. So there was a little bit behind the backbone of nutrition, and how the reason for calculating your macros and making sure that you're eating whole nutritious foods. Now the next question comes to, okay, I know to eat whole foods, I know not to eat processed foods. Well, how do I know I'm eating the correct nutrients for my goals? I use an app called MyFitnessPal, which calculates all of your macros for you, it also calculates your micronutrients. It makes it an easy way to meal plan. I sit down one day a week and I plan all my meals. And then I go to the grocery store and I get all the groceries for it and I prep. It takes about 6 to 7 hours, but then the rest of the week, everything is available for me. I know I'm gonna be on plan. I feel great, I don't get sick. And it's just a really convenient way to be able to know what you're getting. Because most people don't know, well, I'll eat some chicken and I'll eat some broccoli, but then what do I eat? I don't know how to eat for my body. The number one thing that you want to look at, I will go into your MyFitnessPal and I will set up your calories as they should be based on your basic metabolic rate, which we get when we do your pre-measurements. I will go in there and I set that up. I will also set up your macros. I will set up your fiber. I will set up your micronutrients and your water. I suggest you to drink 1 gallon of water a day. Depending if you're working out in the sun, you're gonna absolutely need some more water, especially in this Arizona heat. So just really pay attention to this pyramid of what's the very most important to hit. I know it's a ton of information all at once, so when you get into MyFitnessPal, I'll show you where you see all these numbers that I set. I don't agree with MyFitnessPal numbers. I believe they cut you way below where your BMI is supposed to be. We'll get into later the effects that can do to your body. But for now, this is what you need to know on the importance of hitting. I also include a grocery list and a meal planning template in your package. This helps me. This is my favorite one to use. There's a lot of different ones on the webs that you can use that will help you. I'll sit down and I'll say, okay, so for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, this is what I want to eat. I will input those into MyFitnessPal, see the numbers that I need, whether I need, let's say for Monday, I wanted to have spaghetti for dinner, chicken for lunch, and oatmeal and eggs for breakfast. Well, I'm gonna have to input that into MyFitnessPal so I can see how many nutrients each one of those foods have and how much I'm gonna need. So I may think I'm only gonna have 2 eggs, but when I input it into MyFitnessPal, I come to find out I'm gonna need, maybe 2 whole eggs and 2 egg whites in order for me to hit that protein level that I have inputted for me, which we'll get into. Then it also has a grocery list on the side, which kind of helps you when you're grocery shopping because it's broken down into the different sections of the store so that you can make sure that you're not getting sidetracked and putting those processed foods into your cart. This is why I only cut 20% of your basic metabolic rate if you're wanting to lose weight. Some of you are wanting to put on muscle, so we will go 20% above your BMR. I gave you a really good article that kind of talks about the different reasons that we don't cut more than that. When leptin goes down, this leads to hunger. The reason why leptin goes down is because we're cutting foods. It leads to hunger, increased appetite, reduced motivation to exercise, and decreased amount of calories to burn at rest, creating a slow metabolism. So a lot of people, they've been eating 1,000 calories a day or 1,200 calories a day, and their BMR is 2,500. Well, they're wondering why they're not losing weight, and it's because their metabolism has slowed down, because their leptin has gone down, because our body actively defends using strong biochemical forces to compel us to eat back the weight loss. So a lot of you say, well, I'm just a failure. I ate 1,100 calories for 2 weeks and I binged and I couldn't do it anymore. And then your weight went up. Another yo-yo diet or binge eating. And it's not your fault. This is your body's response. It thinks it's starving, so it initiates all sorts of powerful mechanisms to regain that lost body fat, thinking that it's protecting us from starvation as well as slowing down our metabolism. So I want to get your calories up as high as we possibly can get them while you're still losing weight. And just read this. There's a lot of different information. I think it's about 2 pages in your packet that talks about the leptin and the body response. So see how important it is and why you really do need to hit the calories that I put you on, even if you think, okay, well, Emily gave me 2,000 calories, but I really want to lose weight, so let me just eat 1,500. It's more than what I was eating. No, you need to eat what I prescribed you. And so your body can realize that it's not in starvation mode and speed that metabolism up, because we're going to continue to cut as you lose weight. And I don't want to ever have you at 900 calories, 1,000 calories. I want you to be able to sustain energy and keep up with your daily task, not feel exhausted and tired all the time and go into those binges because you're not eating enough food. So we're going to watch a MyFitnessPal demo. This just explains how MyFitnessPal works.
MyFitnessPal is a free calorie counting and weight management program that makes it fast and easy to track your calories and lose weight. Anyone can lose weight if they have the right tools and the right support system. Medical studies show that keeping a food journal doubles your weight loss, but most people believe they don't have the time to keep track of their food and exercise. MyFitnessPal has solved that problem. On your computer or on your favorite mobile device, MyFitnessPal makes tracking your food and exercise incredibly fast and easy. The more you use MyFitnessPal, the faster it is to record your food, because we remember the foods you eat and make it incredibly easy to never miss logging a meal. We'll use our iPhone app to show you how fast and easy the program is. MyFitnessPal looks a little different on the web and other smartphones, but the tools all work the same way. Let's say you're logging your lunch, and that you've been using MyFitnessPal for a few days. From the first time you use MyFitnessPal, we remember the foods you add to your diary. So it takes no time at all to add the same foods again later. Your favorite foods are right there waiting for you, and foods you haven't logged are just a few keystrokes away. Most regular users of MyFitnessPal can log a meal in less than a minute. Here's how you might log a lunch of an egg salad sandwich from Starbucks, an apple, a glass of milk, and a packet of cookies. On the diary page, tap Add, then select Lunch. Let's start by searching our database for the egg salad sandwich. The database is full of brand names, so you can find exactly what you're looking for. To search, just tap the search area and type a keyword or two. In this case, we'll type Starbucks, egg, and salad. Then tap the search button. There's exactly the item we were looking for. Just tap it, and tap the Add button, and the sandwich is now in our lunch diary. But logging food can be even faster than that. Because we know we'll be adding 3 more items for lunch, we can use multi-add to save even more time. Begin by tapping Add and selecting Lunch. But now tap Multi-Add. Checkboxes appear next to the remembered foods in our list, and we can select more than one food at a time. If you often eat an apple, you'll find apple listed in your frequent foods. Tap the checkbox next to apple in the frequent list. If you haven't been drinking milk frequently, but you had a glass of milk a few days ago, milk will be in your recent food list. Tap Recent, then tap the check mark next to milk. 4 of our apps even have a barcode scanning feature, which can make scanning new foods unbelievably easy. Just tap the barcode icon next to the search area, line up the barcode with the rear camera of your phone or tablet, and the app will automatically show you the matching result. Just tap the check button to confirm the cookies we just found. Finally, tap the Add Checked Items button and the apple, milk, and cookies are logged to your lunch all at once. Your remaining calories for the day are updated, and that's it. There are other time-saving features for you to use as well. The Meals feature lets you combine items that you typically eat together. So if you eat cereal with milk and half a banana for breakfast, you can save that set of foods and log them again later with a single tap. The Recipes feature lets you easily capture your homemade recipes and then log a single serving of a larger recipe when you record your meal. You've seen that getting started is fast and easy, but if you need help sticking to your goals, don't worry. We have millions of users in our online community who can help you stay on track. Post questions on our message board,
Okay, so that was just telling you a little bit about the app and how you use it. It's going to take a lot of time at first. You're going to have to mess with it. I suggest in your packet that I give you, it takes about 30 minutes when you first get going with it, maybe about 20 minutes each meal to find the food that you're looking for. But as you can see, it saves your recent foods, and really it takes me maybe 3-5 minutes my whole entire day to get my foods added. When I prep with the previous list that I showed you on the PowerPoint, as well as it's in your packet, I've already inputted all of my foods. So the only time that I even need to go into MyFitnessPal throughout the day is if something changes. Otherwise than that, then it's already pre-packaged or pre-measured, pre-packaged, and ready for me to eat, and I know exactly that I'm eating what I need to have for that day. This was a lot of information, and you may ask yourself, how do I use all this information? Well, think baby steps. Rome wasn't built in a day. 90% of health and wellness is based in nutrition, so you really do need to master nutrition rather than focus all of your energy in exercise. Yes, exercise is very important. It creates amazing endorphins, and it really helps our bodies in multiple ways. But unless you get your nutrition right, you're not seeing the full benefits of living a healthy lifestyle. 90% of health and wellness is based on nutrition, and also your composition. A lot of people start their diet and exercise because they want to fit into a bikini, or because they want to be able to have no confidence issues. And I promise you that if you follow correctly the nutrition, and you're eating whole foods and you're exercising, you're going to end up realizing that just the way that you feel is so much more important than the way that you look. But that weight is just going to be falling off, and you are going to reach your goals that you set for yourself. Some success tips are to make a weekly meal plan and to prep. So we're going to go into MyFitnessPal now. I will be showing you on my computer screen MyFitnessPal, and where you'll be looking at your macronutrients and your micronutrients. Okay, so here's MyFitnessPal. You'll type it into your web browser. I like to do all of my planning on my computer. I think it's way easier than to do it on my phone with a small screen. So when I sit down for the week, I sit down on my computer and I meal plan. If this is your first time setting up your MyFitnessPal account, you will go to sign up with email. So then that way you're able to give me I will need your email and your password to get in there and change the numbers, because MyFitnessPal automatically generates their numbers that I don't believe are well for you. It's just the same set of numbers for everybody. It doesn't calculate your fitness level. It doesn't calculate your fat level percentage or your activity that you're doing. I already have an account, so I'm going to go into log in. It already has my information because I do this quite a bit, so I'm logging in. this will be your home screen. So it's gonna say the amount of calories that you have. It's gonna ask you if you wanna add an exercise or add food. If you're on my nutrition plan, you will never be adding an exercise. I automatically calculate our exercises we're doing in class, as well as 2 additional outside exercises. It's 3 to 5 days, so I calculate your calories as an active lifestyle, which is a lot more effective than using their preset numbers for how much weight you're burning per activity. I have an idea of what we're burning in class, so that way I'm able to set them up. If you're not in my boot camps and you're just on my nutrition program, that is the reason why I ask you what type of program you're doing, because different programs burn different amounts of fats. So here I am going to be planning my foods for the week. I will go into add food. And here it gives me a rundown of my breakfast, my lunch, and my dinner, my snacks as well. Down here, it will give me how many calories I have for the day, how many carbs I have for the day, how much fat I have, how much protein, how much sodium, and how much sugar. Some of you will see fiber here rather than sugar, because I tend to like to track fiber. As if you remember, also in your packet, there's that pyramid where fiber is one of the more important micronutrients. Micronutrients is our sodium, sugar, and fiber that we need to be hitting. So I'm good with fiber. I eat vegetables all day long. I love vegetables. So I'm more concerned on my sodium at this point. But I will be watching your food logs, like those every 2 weeks. And if I see your sodium's high, then I'll let you know, hey, keep that sodium low. And we can even add that there rather than the fiber. So now I'm planning. I have my grocery list out, my meal planner that I gave you guys. And for Monday morning, I feel like I want some oatmeal and eggs. So I'm writing that down here first. For lunch,